Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Sunday, the 5th of September 2021. Today's Daily Meal, we have some bad news for Tyler Burey. Now, I told you yesterday that he started the game away at Tranmere and he came off. What I didn't know at the time was that he came off injured. He limped off with seemingly a hamstring injury. And let's find out how it is. So this is from the Northern Echo, which is a local northern paper for the northeast area. It says Hartlepool forward Tyler Burey to have scan on hamstring injury. Hartlepool United top scorer Tyler Burey is set for a scan to determine the extent of a hamstring injury picked up in yesterday's defeat at Tranmere Rovers. Burey had made an impressive start to life at Victoria Park since moving on loan from Millwall with 3 goals to his name. The 20-year-old limped off in the 65th minute at Prenton Park yesterday as Pools lost 1-0. Manager Dave Challoner is already in the market for a striker to bolster his options, and the injury sustained by Burey seems to have come at a bad time for the club. The club will anxiously wait for the results of a scan to determine the extent of the problem. Challoner told BBC Radio T Sport, "It looks probably a grade 2. He'll be scanned, whether it will be here or Millwall. Best case scenario, 2 weeks. Worst case scenario, probably 8 to 12 weeks. Without having a scan, it would be stupid to speculate on that. We think it's a grade 2, not a grade 3. Certainly not a good one. It's never ideal. Things are set to challenge you and test you. We can't complain. And we just have to get on with it. Injuries and suspensions is just part and parcel of football, and we've got to deal with it the best as we can. One person's suffering is another person's opportunity, and I'll be looking at the players within the group to make sure that he poses questions throughout the week to decide who play in the game next week at the Vic." Paul suffered back-to-back away defeats yesterday when Tom Davies headed home for Tranmere Rovers in the 89th minute on Merseyside. So yeah, he's injured. Tyler Burey got injured, and they don't know how bad it could be. So 12 weeks, was that 3 months? Not good, not good. Yeah, just as he was getting in his stride. Doing really well there. Scoring goals, playing well. And gets an injury. It's not the best thing to happen, is it? So on the that's one less player to report on the loan watch. Though we've got a lot of players on loan now, so that's one less to report on. But yeah, it's kind of a shame because he was playing really well, and I like it when you see young Millwall players who are on loan, or even ex-Millwall players who went somewhere else and are playing and doing well. I like seeing that, and I like telling you guys about it in the videos. So it's kind of a shame that we won't be seeing any news about Tyler Burey scoring any goals for a while. So I imagine the scan will be in a couple of days, and we'll probably find out. Moving on now. So we've got a couple of. So it's International Week. Not a lot going on. Not any news to talk about. So what do you do when there's no news to talk about? You do kind of report, kind of season so far report, and we've got a couple of them from this one from London Football Scene. It says Mill's early results offer a reality check for Gary Rowett's wounded Lions. With just one win from the opening 5 league games, the pre-season optimism that surrounded Millwall has quickly been replaced by frustration and fear for what lies ahead. It may be too soon to hit the panic button, but Gary Rowett's side desperately need to find some form to prevent the home crowd from turning. Mill's opening draws against Blackburn Rovers and QPR felt all too familiar, largely down to a lack of attacking, cutting edge. Despite the hope Rowett may have addressed this issue with the summer edition of Benicofobia on loan from Stoke City, Millwall are still struggling to put chances away. On a personal level, Phobia started well, scoring 2 goals in 5 games already. More goals than some of his fellow strikers netted all last season. But while he's looked lively and been a big factor in Mill's ability to press higher up the pitch, Phobia is still lacking service, which has been the Lions' main problem for almost 18 months. Defensive solidity has been a key feature of Route's regime, but the 5-3-2 formation that began the season is often too cautious, especially on the midfield. Its three is composed of the defensively minded George Evans and Mikael Keftenveld. Back-to-back losses against Fulham and Cardiff also exposed weaknesses that raised alarm bells. The 2-1 home defeat to the former particularly flattering for Millwall. Flattering. I think that's not flattering for Millwall, even though it was a 2-1 defeat to Fulham, but it could have been a lot more. They absolutely fucking smashed us. So I think he means not flattering. That loss could have been counted as a blip, as the Cottagers started the new season strongly and have a squad worth hundreds of millions. However, the 3-1 loss to Cardiff just a few days later, in which Millwall were outworked and physically dominated, was unacceptable for many. The 2-1 home win against Blackpool just before the international break can be seen as papering over the cracks, as Millwall laboured to a victory against 10 men, saved by the talismanic Jed Wallace. Millwall cannot continue to rely on Wallace, who is edging ever closer to the end of his contract, with others needing to show they can deliver as well. While some may see Millwall start as a minor disaster, it is in truth a reality check. The reality for Millwall is that the coronavirus pandemic has hit the club hard, as they continue to struggle to compete in a championship flooded with parachute payments and new gung-ho owners dreaming of the big time. As the season started, Rout made it clear his squad needed 2, maybe 3 additions before the transfer window closed. The lack of options on the bench abundantly clear. However, without moving players on, the club haven't been able to bring many in, as the likes of John Daddy Budvarsson, Tom Bradshaw and Ben Thompson remain at the club and on the books, but not as it seems in Rowett's plans. Now, with injuries to Danny McNamara and Sean Hutchinson, the Lions could be looking at another season with a stretched, ageing squad. They also failed to add a number 10, a creative player to link the midfield to attack, which they desperately need. The late loan arrival of Liverpool's Shea Ojo before the transfer window shuts hints at a change of style, perhaps reverting back to the familiar Millwall 4-4-2. 32-year-old Matt Smith set to play a starring role. That is to be the case, it would be a regression, not the new forward-thinking style that Rowett promised when he walked into the Den back in October 2019. Overall, the club ends August with a cloud over it, an underwhelming transfer window and start to the season matched by controversy off the pitch. As the campaign heads into the cold, harsh winter months, Millwall will be hoping for sunnier days ahead. After a tough visit to West Bromwich Albion following the international break, they have a run of matches that could see them hit form and get the fans back on side. They will need to use this international break wisely to find a system that works to iron out the kinks, regroup and go again. Indeed. So yeah, just a little roundup of so far. You can't really say so far so good, because so far it is what it is. A lot of people were saying, so last season we had the stretch of 15 games without a win. And even then, people were saying, "Oh, Rowett needs to be fired. You can't go 15 games without a win." And of course, this was all behind closed doors. So people were saying, "Oh, the fans were there. He would have been absolutely slaughtered, and he would have been out the door already." So a lot of it's kind of a feeling that I don't know if you've seen that film Final Destination, where people cheat death. It's their destiny to die in a plane crash, but they cheated it, and then they end up gruesomely dying in other ways to make up for it. And it seems like Gary Rowett's destiny is it is what it is. It's coming up to it. It's catching up to him. It's what should have happened last season when he had that run of 15 games without a win. The crowd wasn't there, so the crowd wasn't on his back, so the crowd didn't influence the board into sacking him. And it seems that that's just it is what it is. It stayed what it is, and it's moved on to this season now. Even though we've brought the players in, and they're doing all right. The Saville could be doing more, but if that's how he's being played, and the guy here is saying that are they going to switch formation? 100%, I guarantee Gary Rowett's not going to change formation. It's just the same old, same old. He's going to do what he does. Why would you change formation? And that's like, that's another reason. Like, if you're a manager, how can you play the same formation and the same system, or try to, game after game after game after game? Surely the opposition are going to figure things out, and you need to change some things anyway. Or even the substitution team makes. Oh, we go a goal down in the 60th minute, bring Matt Smith on in the 75th minute. Game after game after game after game. It's so predictable, and it's showing a lack of flexibility. And you saw that in the Blackpool game when they went down to 10 men. Why are we still playing 5 at the back? Even if you listen to the Hackton Millwall podcast, Nick Hart does the thing where he talks to himself. No offense, Nick. He talks into a microphone about how the game's going, and it literally he called it straight away. And a lot of fans are like that. They've been going Millwall 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They can see what's in front of them. And Nick Hart's saying, why are we still playing 5 in the back? Why aren't you bringing someone and attacking them? And he's seen Conor Mahoney's on. Well, why isn't he bringing Conor Mahoney on yet? Literally, everyone can see it. And it just feels like this is just delayed. Gary Rowett's destiny has just been delayed from last season, where he had that really bad run. And it's just spilling. The injuries are mounting up. It's fate, destiny, cosmic destiny, the gods of fortune, karma, whatever you want to call it. You can't escape it. It's like a black cloud hanging over Gary Rowett, and it's coming for him. Unless maybe he figures something out and does what he needs to do to change things, to grow as a manager, rather than just do the same thing over and over and over again. We will see, but this guy's saying we're going to go to 4-4-2. I doubt that's going to happen. So, I said there was a couple of reviews. We have one from News of Den, from John Kelly. This is kind of rating the transfer window. So rating Mill's transfer window business and White's fingers crossed until January. From an A+ start to the transfer window, you would perhaps have marked Mill's over business a B by the end of it. Mill acted decisively early on after letting go Frank Fielding, Sean Williams and Shane Ferguson. The lines upgraded in each of those positions, signing George Long, George Saville and Scott Malone. Scott Malone was already here, with the added benefit of also lowering the average age of the squad. Benik Afobe arrived on loan from Stoke City after the disappointment of Kenneth Zahore's temporary spell at the Den. After 5 games, Afobe has scored 2 goals, just 1 off Zahore's total in 19 games last season. Yep, so yeah, Afobe is good. He's doing well. Mill's search for a defender landed on the promising 21-year-old Daniel Ballard from Arsenal. Some Gunners fans have even wondered if they should have kept the Northern Ireland international after their disastrous 0.0 goal, -9 goal difference start to the season. Last Tuesday night, Shea Ojo became the 6th signing of the summer window after joining on loan from Liverpool. He has played under Jurgen Klopp and earned praise from former Lions boss Neil Harris and Rangers manager Steven Gerrard. He certainly has the talent to make a big impact for Millwall this season. Jed Wallace has also stayed, though there was never a suggestion he wanted to or would leave in this window. Well, there was a little bit if Millwall got an offer that they could accept rather than let him see out his contract at the end of the season. So, and yet in an ideal world, Millwall would have got Jon Daddy Bodvarsson off their books and recruited another young striker. Rowett admires 18-year-old Man City forward Liam Delap, but needed Bodvarsson off the wage bill first to have a chance of signing a player who was in demand this window. Looking around the squad, it's possible to identify other areas where things could become stretched. Some supporters may have been surprised that Marlon Romeo was allowed to leave with Danny McNamara out for another month or so. Millwall don't have a natural right wing back, but it had felt an uneasy alliance between Romeo and the club recently, not least as he had been left out of 3 matchday squads in the league this season. The Lions will have to make do with Billy Mitchell or Ryan Led in that position until McNamara returns. Millwall don't have a like-for-like replacement if Malone is absent for any reason. Murray Wallace did score twice against Cambridge United from left wing back, but he naturally plays a deeper role. Millwall wanted to add a central creative attacker, but again needed players out the door first. Ben Thompson or Tom Bradshaw are the most likely candidates. Millwall currently have 23 senior first team players, about the number they aim for, but without that depth in some areas. In pre-COVID times, before the major hit of lost gate income, there would be more clubs with more cash, so more opportunities for Millwall to offload some of those players mentioned. There were relatively few transfers of players to championship clubs involving fees. It was frees and loans markets, and Millwall have done well in it and certainly improved their first team from last season. They just can't afford more injuries and hope to have McNamara, Sean Hutchison and Mason Bennett available soon. Rowett and head of recruitment Harvey Bustle have already started planning for January. The trickiest bit will again arguably moving on players, especially if they are not getting match minutes that might alert other sides. It remains to be seen, but it is hoped that Ojo can have the impact in attack with his pace and ability on the ball that Millwall haven't had enough of since Rowett took over in October 2019, as they have mostly relied on Jed Wallace. Bennett has also shown these qualities but needs to stay fit. The report card on the summer window is largely positive. It's just fingers crossed that they won't be exposed in key positions. Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, they're right. We don't have strength in depth, really. So we got McNamara, but he's injured. So Romeo would be the backup, but he wanted to leave. So now, who are we playing at right wing back? Do we play a right wing back? That's another reason why you playing. Why are you playing a formation when you don't have the players to play it, Mr. Gary Rowett? Danny Ballard can play right back. He's played right back for Northern Ireland. He can play there. You could Murray Wallace can play left back, or Malone can play there. Although you're probably losing his attacking stuff if you put him at a left back. It's this, yeah, literally. Why play a formation if you don't have the players to play it because you got players out injured? Answers on the postcard, please. Yeah, I think this says like strength in depth. We don't have. Literally, if Malone's injured, Murray Wallace is gonna go there. Conor Mahoney, will he play there? Shea Ojo, will he play there? Well, maybe we do have cover now. But then, are they going to do the defensive side that Malone does? They're not really. I don't think so. Murray Wallace is more defending. So if you want a left wing back that's more defending, you play Murray Wallace. If you want one that's more attacking, you probably should play Shea Ojo. It's, yeah, I don't know. But like he says, if we get any more injuries until till January, we're probably screwed. Because Rowett's not going to play the kids. I mean, I think I mentioned on it at the time, when they put out the squad list and telling, they published the numbers of the squad, saying, oh, these are the players for this season. They had a couple of youth players on there, but it was basically first team players. And it was notable who wasn't on there. Junior Tenzia wasn't on there. So I think he's probably going to leave this year. I don't think they're going to renew his contract. Because he seems to be out of the window now. Out of favour. Because they didn't have him on that list. He's a left-sided defender. So he could probably play left wing back if we needed him to. But it doesn't seem to be in the picture. But yeah, if we get any more injuries and we need to play youth players, he's not going to play them. And most of them are out on loan. Dan Moss is at Yeovil playing. Sean O'Brien's at Bromley, playing and sometimes not playing. Tyler Burey is at Hartlepool, well, he's injured now. Yeah. So we literally have all the senior youth team players who could come in, maybe just to even just be on the bench and come on for 5 minutes. We needed them. They're not at a club, they've been loaned out. So if we do get injuries, this is an absolute fucking disaster. Really, really is. And if we get to a situation between now and January where we can't even field a full subs bench, you've only got one person to blame, and that's Gary Rat. Seriously, this could get a lot worse before it gets any better. It could do. So there you go. So we're going to finish today's video with this. Shane Ferguson. Why am I talking about Northern Ireland? Well, ostensibly because Danny Ballard was involved, who's currently playing at Millwall. But former Millwall player of last season, Shane Ferguson, it was his 50th cap. He came off the bench, which he often does for Northern Ireland. And he scored an absolute screamer of a goal. Really, really good. Yeah, and won the game 1-0. Saville wasn't involved. I assume he was suspended for the Lithuania game, so he didn't travel to that. So I assume why travel for a friendly against Estonia? Just stay home and rest up. You don't want to be pissing off the clubs in terms of, or even the players in terms of freeing them up. And it gives him a little break. I assume. I doubt I shouldn't think he's training with Millwall, George Saville. I imagine he's at home resting up. And it was a lovely day today, so I'm sure he enjoyed the weather. But here's the lineup for Northern Ireland, and if we scroll down, Danny Ballard, number 4, on the subs bench, not involved. So there you go. That was it. International Lion, unused substitute, and Shane Ferguson scoring an absolute screamer. It's a really good goal, and if you get get online and see it, it's a really good goal. And they now have one more game. They have a home game against Switzerland in a couple of days, and I'll let you know how that gets on, and whoever Saville plays in that. And until then, goodbye.